I am currently interested in applying tools from maths and computing to helping understand problems in biology, most specifically in biodiversity. Within that, there's a number of different themes. A large amount of the research focuses on an area of theory known as neutral theory. It's just a way of modelling very large systems, including very large numbers of species. There was a book that inspired me by Hubble, and it's called The Unified Neutral Theory of Biodiversity and Biogeography. And really what it did was challenge people's perception of what could be included in models of community ecology. Now, if you wanted to understand the way that 2 or 3 species interacted, then you would want to know everything about them. But let's say you wanted to know about thousands of tropical forest trees and how they interacted. You're never going to know all the details about how they may be different. So why not assume they're all the same and see how far it gets you? And the big surprise is you actually get a really long way in predicting the patterns of biodiversity. One of the big advantages of neutral theory is that it's very simple, and that means that you can apply it to large and complex scenarios without getting overwhelmed by the computational challenges. One of my students is working on a model of every individual tree in the Panama Canal watershed, and the purpose of that is to make some predictions of existing data, but then also to make some forward projections of what we would expect to happen in the future as a result of further habitat loss, and also as a result of existing habitat loss, because those effects aren't necessarily seen immediately. This is quite a sophisticated model, actually running on high-performance computing, and there's over 100 million trees in there, but using neutral theory, which was one of my areas of interest, it is possible to simulate those kind of problems. Another area of interest is gradients of biodiversity. There's a very classic pattern here, which is why do you tend to get more species per unit area close to the equator than you do at the poles? And we are applying, again, neutral theory and other related theories to try and shed some new light on that question. Now that science is unveiling the complete tree of life with 2 million odd species in it, how can we make that accessible and explorable for people in the same way that Google Earth made the globe explorable? That was where the idea for OneZoom came from. It is a visualization based on an area of maths known as fractal geometry, but the basic idea is if you're interested in something, zoom in and it reveals further details, which I think is a very natural way of exploring something which is large and potentially overwhelming. You can see the display on the screen behind me, and it's actually developed not just into research and a publication here at Imperial College, but also into a spun out not-for-profit organisation and into methods for visualising our own human family history, which has also resulted in Imperial College spin-out company. The visualisation methods used by OneZoom have been adopted as a way of creating graphics for books, including a book by Richard Dawkins and Yan Wong, who I now work with on the OneZoom project. And it's been used as a display in museums and other public venues as a way to communicate information about evolution to everybody, not just to scientists who study it. For anyone watching who would like to get involved in these projects, you can go to the website to explore the Tree of Life, find your favourite species, see which ones are under threat of extinction, or if you're more interested in your own family history, you can start collating that on the other website about human genealogy. I mostly work with master students, however I have taken on undergraduate summer placements and offered undergraduate projects. My projects would suit students who are interested again in this overlap between quite technical disciplines like maths and computing and biology, and I think that that's a very exciting area of research moving forwards. PhD students would be very much the same, but PhD student projects would need to be funded through different routes. Doing this kind of research is naturally very collaborative, and I work with people from around the world, including America, Canada, Panama, Singapore, around Europe, And I think that's very important. One of my PhD students has a joint position in Singapore, so he spends half of his time there. And on the OneZoom project, as well as the genealogy project ZoomPast, I work with a developer in China. And then back at Silwood, I think it's important to keep a strong group atmosphere going. Together, the master students and the PhD students in the group, together with anyone else, perhaps from some other groups, we meet regularly, we talk about science, we talk about things that aren't science, we have coffee together, social events, and I think that's very important for progressing in science as well.